Well, first and foremost, Jon Moxley has been booked very strong, and I'm not mad at that. He was one of their bigger signings, so it's understandable. I believe he's in the undefeated still, right?
Jon Moxley has not been beaten yet, no.
Yeah, he's undefeated. He's been booked pretty strong and consistent. So I can't help but feel that right here, right now. I mean, obviously plans always change, but perhaps they're building him up to beat Jericho because they want that. I don't think they're exactly trying to rely on former WWE guys, but I think for their first couple of champions, their thought process might be, let's put it on a few guys that have been seen on television before. So perhaps Jon Moxley, I feel like probably he's going to be the one to beat Jericho. But I got to say, Graham, I don't mean to sound so sour to Jon Moxley because when he was in WWE, he most of the time he was my favorite Shield member.
Mm-hmm.
But I think after 2016, his work and his performances really declined. And I think he's doing okay work in AEW, but I can't help but feel like he's not that different from Dean Ambrose. I still see Dean Ambrose, the little jokes here and there,
Yeah, the kids
the
thing that he said backstage, yeah.
yeah, he's not really funny, but I just think like he's supposed to be a lunatic, and
Yeah.
I just think he comes off a little
Cartoonish, maybe?
corny,
Yeah.
corny. Like I just see too much Dean Ambrose in him, and he wanted out of his contract so bad with WWE. He wanted all this creative freedom and whatnot. But now you have it, and you're essentially the same guy. I'm just waiting for him to show me more.
No, I agree. I think part of that too is because they haven't really let him talk much. I feel like the handcuffs on Ambrose in WWE were really the promo stuff. Because in the ring, I mean, the guy's he's never been amazing. Let's not mistake him for being like a Bret Hart here by any means.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it does go both ways in terms of his WWE work. I completely agree. His work fell off after the championship run ended. He didn't really have many memorable matches after that. And I could see, him being handcuffed creatively because he's not really been giving the freedom to be, the character that he wants to be or be able to speak the way that he wants to. But in the ring, though, you could still put in a very good performance. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're only as good as they want you to be. But at the same time, I mean, like, he was definitely phoning it in. That was pretty obvious for a while there. Like, I can't think of one above average Dean Ambrose match from after he lost the WWE Championship and after the AJ feud wrapped up, because that TLC match was great. But
Yep.
after that, though, he didn't really have, like, he faced The Miz a number of times. I don't even really know what else he did. He reunited with the Shield a bunch. The matches with Rollins were terrible. Like, at the
Yeah.
end there, were not good at all. Like, I'm shocked, too, because they had some really good matches 5 years ago. But, again, maybe that's just lack of effort or motivation, whatever. So it goes both ways. But I agree with you where I can see why people would think that he's not the same. He is the same guy that he was in WWE's Dean Ambrose. But I feel like part of that is because they haven't really allowed him to talk as much on the show. And he has cut a couple promos in the ring and in, pre-tape stuff and whatever, which is fine. But they give guys like Cody a lot of mic time. And Jericho too. And for good reason. I mean, they're awesome. And their promos are easily the best thing on the entire show. But do you think that might change, though, that he could kind of break away from the Dean Ambrose shadow if they were to allow him to be, not be, but talk more on these shows in the ring as opposed to just wrestling or popping up and brawling or whatever?
Yeah, I do think he could use a little bit more promo time, but also just more mannerisms, more different mannerisms, and more different things that he didn't do in WWE, like
Yep.
the occasional corny joke or the mannerisms of kind of flailing his arms and twitching, kind of like that. I just think he needs to realize that you're in a new company and you gotta like add new layers to your game. I don't want to think about Dean Ambrose, but I catch myself thinking Dean Ambrose because he seems mostly identical. Just now he gets to swear and, fight in bloody matches more.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree. They definitely got to do a better job of distinguishing not just them, but Moxley himself has got to do a better job of kind of separating himself from who he was in WWE. And like you said, I mean, some of the stuff he says just isn't funny. It's just very hit or miss with some of the stuff that he says in
Yeah.
promos and with comedy. He's just a weird dude. Jon Moxley's a
Yeah.
really weird dude. I had the chance to meet him earlier this year at some indie show, and he's a very reserved person, but I've met reserved people before. It's not that he's shy. It's not that he's an asshole either. He's just a weird freaking dude.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe. Moxley's a very weird person to sum up in just one or two words.
Yeah, even listening to his interviews, he seems great. He seems honest and straightforward, but there's always like a weird awkwardness to his interviews.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.